right, we're here with Sam Schmitz, the women's wrestling coach.
What is your coaching philosophy here at Mckendree?
Coaching philosophy is just trying to get our kids to work as hard as they can on a daily basis, doing the things you're supposed to do that will prepare them for life, showing up on time, working as hard as they possibly can, making sure they're going to class, basically just making sure all your ducks are in a row so when the time comes that you need to dig down deep or you need to make sure that you're going to be successful, you have everything taken care of on the backside. So.
Do you think wrestling is more mental and physical? And if it is mental, how do you mentally prepare your athletes?
I believe we mentally prepare our athletes. It is more mental. Wrestling is so much more mental than it is physical. I know we go through a lot of physically challenging tasks on a daily basis, whether it's lifting or conditioning or wrestling or whatever the case is. But those things are put in place so that our kids break mentally, so they know where that breaking point is, and they can challenge themselves mentally on a daily basis, so that when the time comes again where their back's against the wall, they can succeed. And we try to put them in a mental place that is dark, that isn't a place where many athletes go, so that when they get there in competition or they get there in life, they know how to react, they know how to bounce back, they know how to fight, but it is so much more mental than it is physical. And I think a lot of them learn that after they're done with their careers more than while they're in it. So.
Before a weight cut practice, how do you mentally prepare your athletes?
I just try to be positive.
Like positive self-talk or like imagery, like what do you think helps athletes the most when they're cutting weight?
I think just keeping them in tune with what the end goal is. You know, hey, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna make weight, and then we're gonna eat some food, and then we're gonna be smiling and happy, and you're gonna be fine. And then you're gonna go out and step on the mat, and you're gonna beat somebody up, and you're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna be successful. But I think positive talk and trying to get them to self-talk, you know, by themselves on those same levels, is the way to do it. It's not an easy thing to do. Not any other sport is like ours, maybe boxing or MMA, but cutting weight is not an easy task, and to try to be positive through it is, I think, the best way to approach it. So.
Do you think a lot of your athletes have trouble transferring their practice to performance, and why do you think this is, if so?
I do, and I think self-confidence is the biggest issue. I think kids just they see wrestling as such, or competition as this big, crazy thing, when it really is the same thing we do every day. And again, we try to put our girls and guys into live competition settings or in the environment that they're going to be in out on the weekends or in competition, but their self-confidence is the biggest thing, and that can be my fault, not being positive enough, or that could be maybe things that they've learned in the past that maybe don't make them quite as confident. But self-confidence, I think, is the hardest thing for them to conquer as they try to jump into competition world. So.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Colton Pease. He's our heavyweight from Mckendree. Okay, first question, Colton. What is your biggest mental block in wrestling?
My biggest mental block is probably believing in my offense. Growing up, I really didn't shoot a lot, so in college, to be successful, you have to shoot. So that's probably my biggest struggle that I have to overcome.
I will, I promise.
Okay, and do you have a hard time transferring your practice to performance?
Have faith in me, coach.
Most of the time, yeah, just because, like in my last question, I don't believe in my shots. I don't believe in my offense as much as I should. So yeah.
Good. And because you don't cut weight, you have a different mental challenge and physical challenge when it comes to wrestling your weight class. Talk a little bit about that.
During the season I weigh about 250 and the weight class is 285. So I've got 30 pounds I can play with, 35 pounds. So mainly I just try to keep weight on so that I'm not too light. while trying to maintain high level of conditioning. That way I can last longer than the bigger guys and still be able to compete with them.
Good. Thank you, Colton.
No problem.
I'm here with Susie Fozo. She's a freshman Mckendree wrestler. First question, Susie. What is your biggest mental block when it comes to wrestling?
So my biggest mental block when it comes to wrestling is probably just knowing how hard to push myself. So I can fully understand that I'm very tired at a point, but if somebody else pushes me, then I'm ready to go for more. But by myself, I really am not good at pushing myself.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you have trouble transferring your practice to performance? And if so, why do you think this is?
I kind of do. It's hard to focus when you're in a live match. So things that I could do easily in a wrestling room, I can't do so easily when I'm under pressure.
Okay. And obviously wrestlers cut weight and it's very mentally challenging. Do you find it mentally challenging when you're cutting weight? And what other problems do you seem to face with this?
So cutting weight is always a struggle, especially when, all of our girls are very in shape, so there's not a lot of fat to cut necessarily. So we're really cutting like all that we need. And the thing that gets me through it is, at least I look skinny and pretty, I can pretend that I'm doing this just so that I look better instead of, kind of doing it because it's gonna like make me a better wrestler. That kind of like distracts me.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is Ryan Strope. He wrestles 157 from Mckendree. Ryan, is wrestling more physically or mental for you?
It's a little bit of both, but if I had to pick, it'd be more mental due to the fact that you got to prepare yourself weeks before for your competition by cutting weight, practicing, and learning your technique.
Okay. What's your biggest mental block in wrestling?
Confidence. I struggle with having confidence in my shots and in my technique that I wrestle with.
Okay. Do you have trouble transferring your practice to performance? And if so, why do you think this is?
Yes, because I feel like whenever you're out competing, it's a little more pressure on you, and that's whenever my confidence comes in and I struggle with having confidence in my technique and shots.
All right, and I know that you've cut a lot of weight in the past. How is this mentally challenging for you, and how do you overcome it?
Cutting weight is a big problem because it carries over to many things besides just wrestling. But with wrestling, it carries over to having to be healthy when you compete, and when you're wrestling hard, to have enough energy when you get done weighing in. And so that's a big thing with me when I'm cutting weight, is making sure that my body's good and full whenever I go out and compete.
All right, thanks, Ryan.